and welcome to Natural Sciences. Today's topic is Introduction to Ecology. Did you know that your existence and survival is dependent on animals and non-living things found in the environment? How, you may ask? Well, let's find out. Before we jump into our lesson, these are the things that you need to be able to know by the end of this lesson. Firstly, you need to be able to define the term ecology. Secondly, you need to be able to list the 4 ecological interactions. 3, you need to be able to define the terms population, communities, ecosystem, and biosphere. You also need to be able to explain the flow of energy. And lastly, you need to be able to identify populations, communities, ecosystem, and the biosphere. So this is our concept map, which gives us guidance as to how this lesson is going to go. So we are firstly going to look at ecology, define it, and give an explanation rather. And then we are going to move on to the levels of ecological interactions. We are going to start by looking at the population. We will then look at communities together with the flow of energy. We will then look at ecosystems and the biosphere. For this lesson, you must already know or have an understanding of the concept of ecosystems. You must also know that energy passes through ecosystems along food chains, from a producer to consumers. We can explain this by using an example of a food chain that exists in a grassland. By grassland, we mean an area where vegetation is dominated by grass. So this is the example that we are going to use to show the flow of energy from producers to consumers. So the grass is eaten by the impala. The impala is eaten by the lion. So this is called a food chain because it shows us that energy moved from the grass firstly, and then it moved into the impala when the impala consumed the grass. Then from the impala, the energy moves to the lion because now this very impala is then eaten by the lion, which is our tertiary consumer in this case. Here are some new terms that you are going to learn in this lesson. So the first term that you are going to come across is ecology. The term ecology refers to the study of interactions of organisms with one another and their physical environment. So that is what ecology is. It is a study. The second term that you are going to come across is ecosystems. Ecosystems refers to a specific environment where living organisms interact with one another and with their physical environment. So the difference between the two terms is that the first one, which is ecology, is a study, whereas the second one, which is ecosystem, is an environment. So the difference between the two is that it's a study and the other one is an environment. The third term that you are going to come across is population. Population is a group of organisms of the same type that live in the same area at a specific time, and they can breed with one another. So a population refers to species of the same organisms or organisms of the same species, rather. Then we are going to look at community. A community refers to all populations of organisms that interact in a certain area. So now a community speaks to different populations, so different species that come together and coexist in the same area. Now that is referred to as a community. The next term is interaction. Interaction is the communication or direct involvement with someone or something. That is referred to as interaction. Now, the last term for this slide is biosphere. A biosphere is a part of the earth where life exists. Then we have food chain. A food chain is a diagram that is showing a series of organisms linked together to show which one eats what. So we normally use arrows to show the flow of energy from one organism to the other. And then the second last one is actually food web. A food web is a number of interlinked food chains in an area. These form a food web. So basically, a food web is a number of food chains that are just interlinked or that are connected together. Then the last term for this lesson is environment. An environment is a specific surrounding where people, animals, and plants live and operate. So we are going to jump into the first concept of our lesson for the day, which is the definition and explanation of ecology. I am going to stop here for now. I'll see you after the break.